We are optimistic. We are positive. We are excited about chiropractic. We're excited about reaching people with our practices and building an exceptional life, exceptional lives of productivity, prosperity, and generosity while filled with love. I love you and I can help you. I love you and I can help you. I love you and I can help you. Of course, fitness-centered and having fun. Our purpose is what? For us to become smarter, more powerful, more capable. Do you realize what that means? How capable are you in any situation? How capable are you in financial situations? How capable are you in chiropractic situations? How capable are you in management situations? How capable are you physically? How far can you run before you have to stop? How many pull-ups can you do? How capable are you? How far could you swim? How capable are you? How many pages can you read before you freak out and start looking for your phone to see if you have any messages? Your ability to concentrate for a sustained period of time. How capable are you? If I said, I want you to come up on stage and talk for 20 minutes, oh, by the way, that's tomorrow, could you get up there and be valuable? Or would people never want you to get on the stage again? How capable are you? How capable are you at writing? Have you written any books? Have you written any booklets like a new patient guide for your practice? How capable are you? How capable are you in the world of social media? Are you capable? How capable are you at marketing? Can you market yourself? Could you market anything? How capable are you? Your capabilities. See what that word means? It's easy to listen to me say an affirmation, but you got to be evaluating, how capable am I? Do you know how to fly a plane? Do you know how to drive a boat? Do you have to have help with everything you do, or can you go alone? The other day, gentleman on a sailboat with his dog out in the middle of the ocean. That is capable. Of course, we are driven as we become superior versions of ourselves by ever-increasing our awareness, our knowledge. Awareness of what? How capable we are. Our understanding, our motivation to what? Become more capable. You get paid based on how capable you are. You realize that? If a chiropractor collects $20,000 a month, well, that's how capable they are. Because everybody wants to earn more, right? Chiropractor collects $100,000 a month, well, that's how capable they are. Chiropractor collects $200,000 a month, that's how capable. $300,000 a month, high-level capability. Now, that doesn't mean people don't have potential. Your capability is sort of a measure in relation to your potential. And I'm trying to bring your potential out of you, make you more capable. By what? Improving our hands-on skill, our communication skill, our mastery in the art of creating an exceptional life. Of course, every time we train, we're naturally getting more great new patients. We're becoming more capable at motivating and persuading people. We're becoming more capable at motivating and persuading people. We're empowered to make smarter long-term decisions, and we are energized physically, mentally, and financially. What does that mean? We want to be more capable financially. We want to be more capable mentally, our mental strength, our mental toughness, our will, our perception, our imagination, our faculty of intuition. Okay? All of these things. And of course, more capable physically through our physical training. Oh, big topic today. I get asked about this a lot. It has nothing to do with chiropractic practice management success, but it has everything to do with you because your housing is usually the most expensive thing we have to deal with month in and month out. So we're going to talk about houses and how much house a chiropractor should have if you, yes, you listening to me, if you want to become wealthy. And we could spend a lot of time talking about what wealth is and what rich is, what high income is versus wealth. Wealth is when you have a bunch of investments that produce significant income, as opposed to just having a good job and making income, but not having many investments. So let's take a look at this house concept. I got a few important things to share. I think you're going to find this very interesting because it's real. You're dealing with this right now. Let's start with this. We have to have a number in our mind to use as a reference point. And that number is, what is your monthly average gross income? Now, most chiropractors don't know what income is. They don't know gross. They don't know net. They don't know revenue. They don't know collection. They don't know any of this stuff. So I am here to share this with you. In fact, I have just decided quite a while ago that I am now the official success mentor to every chiropractor in the world. I've just decided that. I've just decided that through this platform, I will be a coach, a mentor, a positive, encouraging voice for every chiropractor on earth. I've just decided to take over the entire profession as a person in leadership with the intent of helping and empowering you, every chiropractor, to do bigger, better, and more honorable things. Now, I say this because I want you to make that same declaration chiropractically where you live. You just decide you are the chiropractic authority in your area, in the 20-mile circle around your office. You are the chiropractic voice. All right, now back to the task at hand, and that's you. We have what you collect, so you have your collections. We take out the overhead, and you are not part of your overhead. This is the first mistake people make. Minus all overhead, all rent, all staff, consulting fees, accounting fees, marketing expenses, website expenses, office supplies, malpractice insurance, all legit business expenses come out and leaves you gross income. Gross means before tax. Then we take out the appropriate tax because you are taxed on the profit. In fact, gross income is also the same as gross profit, what is left after legit expenses. We take out the tax, we end up with net income or net profit. So if a chiropractor collects $50,000 a month, let's say the overhead is $25,000. That leaves a gross income of $25,000 to work with as a factor. If we take out the tax, let's just say the tax is $5,000 to keep it simple, the net income is $20,000, the money that actually ends up in your personal checking account that you can spend. So we have to understand gross income and net income. If you're an employee, that's gross pay, $20 an hour times 40 hours. Then you take out the tax and whatever else, and you end up with your net pay. And that's the dollar amount that gets direct deposited into your personal checking account. So we have gross income and we have net income. And those are the numbers we have to use as a reference point anytime we're talking about your expenses for housing. Now, let's just plant that in the mind, and let's go over here and talk about this for a second as part of the setup here. Here's what we got as the chiropractor, and this is a formidable situation. Commonly, we'll have student loans, and then we might have a practice loan, possibly some credit card debt, hopefully not a car loan. And then commonly, a chiropractor will want to get married, which is going to be a big expense. Possibly kids, big expense. A big expense because this takes time, effort, and energy away from making money, as well as the flat-out cost outright. Then, of course, there's the house cost, and then there's cars to deal with. All the other little expenses, and of course, I'm just going to mention this now. Where is savings and investing in this whole formula? Let's look at this. Let's say the chiropractor has $300,000 student loans. They have a $150,000 practice loan. They're starting $450,000 in the hole. That's how behind people are. It used to be you had 0 student loans and you got a $20,000 practice loan. This is why chiropractors back in the 70s were financially independent by the age of 40. Now I have people who are 55 and they still have student loans. Where do you stand with your student loans? We have people paying off over $250,000 in student loans in 1 year because we, and only we, have the system that will do it. And once you learn it here, you'll realize you have never seen or heard anything like it anywhere else. So here's the situation. It is ominous. So let me give you the nightmare. Here's the nightmare. The chiropractor graduates with their $300 in loans, they get a practice loan, and then they decide they're going to get married, or maybe they're already married and they have a kid or two, and then as a couple they just say, hey, we need a house, even though we got all these loans, okay? And then someone needs a new car that's bigger to haul around the kids. And all of the expenses were piled on before the chiropractor could handle it. And they forfeit their life. What do I mean? What do I mean, forfeit their life? What do I mean by that? I mean they've taken on so many expenses that they will not be able to earn enough to cover them in their lifetime. And they forfeit their life. And then we can have things happen like maybe a special needs child, or maybe, we have a parent that has to be taken care of. So here you have the chiropractor that has 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 dependents all hanging on their solo income. I'm just doing this as a matter of calibration, okay? Now, these can all be wonderful people. We're not talking about that. We're talking about dollar amounts earned versus dollars of expense. This is math we're talking about. Not, well, we love each other. Okay, fine. We're not talking about that. But I want you to compare that situation to this. The chiropractor is not married yet. They graduate. They pay off all their student loans. They have 0 student loans. They have 0 practice loans, 0 credit cards, 0 car payments. They have 0 debt. Then they get married. And let's say they marry somebody that has a decent income. Then, okay, from that point, they get the house with the proper parameters like I'm going to describe in a minute. Then they decide to have kids. And of course, their investing along the way is impressive. We call this relationship management. How you manage the relationships that you allow into your... Well, it just happened. We love each other. No, it happened because you decided to have it happen. Nobody made you get married and nobody made you, okay, do these things. So relationship management. When I see an ultra successful chiropractor, what I normally see is some outstanding relationship they just did everything right. They did everything right as a couple. They did everything right individually. Then when they come together as a couple, they really do something impressive. 1 + 1 = 3. I don't know where I find you. You might be a student, and this is all in your future. You might be behind. You might be 56 years old and not really have any money saved. But we can fix all of it. We have the systems and the procedures, the guidelines, the motivation, everything to fix it. Okay. So there we see a couple examples for calibration purposes. Now I want to start to do a few bits here on guidelines for houses. This is so huge. And I could do probably an 8 or 10 hour talk on this, but I'm going to try to just encapsulate it as much as I can. Now, the first thing I want to teach you, other than collections minus legit overhead equals gross income, gross profit, minus the taxes equals net income or net profit. Okay? Next point I want to teach you is this. And if you're in the Winner's Edge group, you will already know this because you'll be very highly trained in this area already. And as usual, it's almost not even fair how much the Winner's Edge chiropractor knows compared to any other chiropractor, but that we're used to that at this point. Now, listen, it's this. 2 words. Phantom payments. Phantom payments. What are phantom payments? What is found money? What are phantom payments? With a car, with a house, with a boat, with a relationship, with a child. What are phantom payments? They are all the expenses that you cannot predict, but they are always there. There's always a certain dollar amount that a house is going to cost you every month. Now, you don't know what those expenses are, but they will always be there. Up, we need a new garage door opener. Up, something for the deck. Up, change the carpet. Up, appliance issue. Up, let's paint this. Up, furniture. Up, new TV. Up, you see what I'm saying? There's all these expenses that come along with it the second you buy it. When you buy a boat, you just signed up for all of the phantom payments. Yes, it's the gas and the insurance, but it's this impeller. Up, it's this entry fee. Up, it's this thing at the dock. Up, see what I'm saying? There's these expenses that come with it, and this is what, quote, normal people do not understand, and this is what kills them, i.e. kills you. The phantom payments that come along with it. This is why when you drive around a neighborhood, you see a bunch of backs of houses with the wood plate below the sliding glass doors, but there's no deck. You look in the windows, there's no shades. They ran out of money. Why? Did not understand phantom payments. So I say it this way. Yeah, we'll get to that deck later. We'll get to that deck later. The house ate all the money. The people did not accommodate for the phantom payments and all the expenses that came with the house. They now can't afford it, and now they're stuck. And of course, now they certainly can't save money. And then someone says, hey, I'm pregnant, we're going to have a 4th child. And all of this piles on, and there you are. Miserable, like the mass of Americans. We have to be victorious. So we understand the phantom payments going in. So as a general rule, with a house, whatever the house costs total, you will pay that same amount over the life of owning the house. So if you buy a $750,000 house and say it's a 30-year loan, you're going to shell out roughly around another $750,000 just owning the house, in addition to the original $750,000 for the wood and the foundation and the house itself over the term of that loan. Or put this way, if you got a $4,000 a month house payment you're looking at, you have to be able to handle another $4,000 a month in phantom payments. Gee, it's not that much for me. Well, this is a guideline. If you account for that, you'll be on easy street. But it's when people account for no phantom payments because what? They lack awareness, they lack capability, they lack understanding, they are not smarter, they are an inferior version of themselves. You see that? They lack knowledge and know-how. Do you see what I mean here? And so they end up buying something, they're unaware of the phantom payments, and now they're stuck and screwed. So phantom payments. Now we can get to the next point, and that's buy versus rent. And you can go online and you'll hear people, oh, I would never buy a house, I would only rent. And then you turn around, I would buy a house for sure. Then you got the richest man in Babylon, make of thy home a profitable investment. You got Warren Buffett, of course buy a house. It's a form of forced savings, especially if you're going to live in the area a while. Obviously, you're going to buy a house. If you are going to live in an area for a period of time, you're going to buy a house because it is the smartest thing you can do financially. When you survey millionaires like people like Dave Ramsey have, and I have on a smaller scale, okay, high-level people own a nice house or more than one nice house. Some people who say don't buy a house, if you look at where they live, it will make sense. But if they moved to a different state, they would buy for sure. So people, the pundits, as you might call them, that are blabbing on social media saying, oh, do this and do that, or YouTube videos, okay? That's their context where they live in their world. That is not your world and not what matters for you. But I am a chiropractor like you. I've lived in multiple states. I live in 2 states simultaneously. Extreme opposites. Sunny Isles Beach, Florida, where you're surrounded by $8 to $25 million places, and I mean hundreds and hundreds of them. And then, of course, in Minneapolis, Midwestern USA, I see the range. I can speak with knowledge. I can speak with experience here. Okay, so phantom payments, buy versus rent. Well, obviously, if you're going to be around the place for a while, you're going to want to buy. Not only to own for yourself, but possibly to buy and then have the place turn into a rental if you decide to go and buy something else bigger and better, depending on the area you live in and all the economic parameters there. Okay, so forget the opinions. You've got to engineer the solution for you. Okay, now, first trap for the chiropractor. The chiropractor buys a house too soon. They have to kind of buy a smaller house. And then they set themselves up to have to buy another one. So they're going to have to pay all the fees, all the pain, all over again. And if they would have just rented and waited and got the house, they wouldn't have had to have that double expense. The great Warren Buffett has bought one house in the city of Omaha. The great Warren Buffett has bought one house, okay, in the city of Omaha, where he is from. Now, he's like 93, 94 years old. He bought one house. He's lived there for 60-something years. That is awesome. My best friend in chiropractic college, we graduated together. He rented, got married, and they built one house on the golf course. It still looks new today, 30 years later. He did it so right, it's awesome. Okay? versus getting something because you think you need to and you get pushed, and then you just set yourself up to have to redo it again and have all that expense. There's no rush here. Another common problem is people buy a house that's too far away and they're like commuting to work, or any drive over 20 minutes to your office. You made a mistake. Because once again, success is all in the setup. Okay? All right, now I got to move on here. Next point is this. Yes, we want to have, as an official guideline, you have no student loans and you put 20% down. Right there. Okay, page 2. How much house can you get? And if you Google how much house can you afford, you will see lots of opinions, but I'm going to break them down here for you very quickly. Okay? I'll break them down for you very quickly. The banks will tell you something like this. You ready? 28% of your gross pay. Some institutions will say 36% of your monthly gross pay. Some of you are confused again on what gross pay means, but here we go. If you have $50,000 in collections and the overhead is $25,000, that leaves $25,000 left over of gross pay, gross profit for the chiropractor. The money you have that you could take out of the account that month to use for housing. So if we look at that number, $25,000, okay, which is gross, this is before tax, times 36% means they want you to think you could have a $9,000 house payment. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you how pure evil it is what I just said. This is what the banks want you to do because they have an evil agenda. They want to bury you in debt, not only for your life, but for your kids' life, should you have kids. 36%? That is so outrageously stupid. I have to move past it quickly because it is so devastating. You will have no money for presents. You'll have no money to go anywhere. You'll be driving a car with 280,000 miles. You will have no savings and no investments. You will have nothing, but you might have a nice house. Yay for you. Now, on the other end of the scale, listen carefully, 28 to 36% of the gross pay compared to 25% of what you actually put in your account after taxes. 25% of your net pay. Here is the official Winner's Edge standard. The official Winner's Edge standard for a house payment is you should be able to make the total rent payment or the total house payment, principal, interest, tax, and insurance with what you take home in 1 week. So if you get paid $3,000 a week, you should be able to get yourself a $3,000 house, principal and the interest, plus the taxes and the insurance. The whole thing all in. Okay? Hear that horn going? We've got a car across the street where the horn goes off about every day. I don't even know why they even lock their car. Like, nobody's going to take anything out of a car in this neighborhood, but either way. So you see the extremes there, 28 to 36% of the gross versus 25% of the net pay. Okay? 25% of the net pay. Now, here's another parameter I want to share with you, and this can start to get confusing, but I'll get it all into one little cohesive bit here in just a second. But watch this, okay? For years in chiropractic, since the 80s, this has been the standard. You ready for this? You won't even believe this one. I just described 28 to 36% of how much money you have before you pay tax. This parameter, which was given to thousands, and this was the chiropractic standard for decades, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and that was 16% of your monthly net pay. Now, I'll use a couple of examples here. Watch this. Let's say before tax you have $20,000. The banks will tell you can have a house payment of $7,200. Now, after tax, let's say you had $15,000. This chiropractic parameter, okay, which was the chiropractic standard forever, was 16% of what you had after tax. So you got 15,000 times 16% equals $2,400. So the bank tells you go and get something for $7,200, and the chiropractic profession, for people that want chiropractors to become wealthy, says no, you can't afford anything over $2,400. Look at the massive difference. So again, you have to sit and figure out, what is your real monthly gross income? Do you know? And then what are you actually getting paid? As you count paychecks and any draws, okay? Now, if you look on a W-2 or you look on any accounting documents, it will show you what your gross income is, okay? And then what tax was paid, and then what your net income is, okay? And you could look at your net income for the last year and multiply it by 16% and say that's how much we should have spent on housing for the year. Now, in the modern world today, obviously what the banks want you to do, that's a disaster, okay? And this 16% thing, well, that was back when student loans were $40,000, when insurance companies paid 3 times as much as they pay now. The profit zone for the chiropractor was much different then. The cost of housing was much different then. A brand new half of a duplex was $115,000. I bought a beautiful one-bedroom condo on the lake in Madison, Wisconsin. It was $109,000. I bet it's $300,000 now, plus the increase in the taxes. So in the modern era here today, we're going to say it this way. You want to have no student loans. You just suck it up and you tough it out, okay? And you be a professional adult and you pay off what you obligated yourself to first. Because if you want to get a house and try to pay off your student loans, this is going to be a haul. Unless you, quote, marry somebody that has money. And we see people do that. We've seen people marry people and somebody gives them $100,000 from as a gift when they get married. Or they marry somebody that has significant income. These things can vary. I'm not talking to you specifically. I don't know what your story is. But these guidelines are the same either way. So we want to have no student loans, 20% down, and you want to be able to make your house payment all in on a 30-year note with what you get paid after tax that goes into your account. You can write a check 1 week. 1 week's net pay. So, if you get paid $10,000 a month, $2,500 a week after tax, you can afford $2,500 for where you live. That saves the rest of the money for savings, vacations, cars, lifestyle, phantom payments. You see that? You're in perfect shape. Perfect shape. Okay? And to be able to accelerate the mortgage. If you get a mortgage on a house and you cannot pay any extra towards it, well, you know you made a mistake. If you buy a house and you cannot make extra payments and save money, well, you really made a mistake. So here is what you have to end up with. You have to end up with a house payment. You have to be able to be sending extra to the principal on the house, and you must be able to save your age. So remember here, the Winner's Edge standard. A chiropractor is not successful until their student loans are gone and you are auto-investing your age. And if you don't know what that is, you need to join immediately, like right this second. It's hopeless for you. There is no hope for you financially. You are doomed. If you were outside the Winner's Edge group, you are doomed. You're out in this huge, evil world that has massive experience to make your life miserable. You need help, education, motivation, the skills, the tactics. You have to know the secrets to be able to navigate this and win. Okay? And so the first step to success for the Power Chiropractor is acknowledging you don't know anything and you need help. If you're sitting there listening to me and you have no house payment, you have at least $2 million that you invested, it wasn't because you inherited it, okay? Well, then maybe you might have a handle on a few things, okay? But the chiropractors that still have loans and this and that, and they think they're awesome, I mean, you don't know anything. Okay? You need education, and that's what we are here to do. So, we got to be able to have the house payment. We've got to be able to accelerate the mortgage. And you have to be able to auto-save your age and then have wonderful lifestyle and vacations and holidays, handle the phantom payments, and have a smile on your face every night when you go to sleep versus dreading going to bed. Because you know you have to wake up the next day versus dreading going to bed. Because you know you have to wake up the next day and have the whip cracked over you for all of the burdens you have put on your back. The world is trying to break you, and its super duty tool are student loans and mortgages. Those are the big things. Then, of course, relationship management, poor equaling divorce. Those are the things that break people. We call them the D's. Debt, okay, death, or divorce. Okay? You don't want debt, you don't want to die, and of course you'd never want a divorce. Okay? All right? All right, so I will sum this up, even though I'd love to go on and on and on this, not even having a chance talking about how we accelerate mortgages and all of that. You play around on Carl's, with a K, Carl's Mortgage Calculator. That is where you play around to determine what kind of bang for your buck you get when you pay extra toward a mortgage. And I will tell you this, there is like no investment you are going to do that's reliable over time that will beat paying down a mortgage. Because when you pay down a mortgage, it is an immediate big return with zero tax consequence. Unlike investing, where when it grows, there is a tax consequence. Stupid people say, oh, I'm able to make 10% in the stock market and my mortgage is only 6%. No, you are losing because you have to pay tax on the 10%. The 6% is pure benefit that does not come back unless you screw up and have to go get a home equity loan. So I'm going to sum up here. The official Winner's Edge recommendation. Your student loans are gone. You're auto-investing your age, and you have that understanding on how and where to do that. Then we put 20% down on a great house. I mean the house that you can make the total payment with 25% of the household's reliable weekly net pay. Not, it's this now, but she wants to stay home once we have kids. Well, then you will be trapped when that time comes, unless your income increases, which I always recommend. Then we must accelerate the mortgage. And just to give you an idea, and I don't have time to explain this, ideally you make a double payment on a 30-year loan and a 1.5 times payment on a 15-year loan, because the 15-year loan is already accelerated significantly. So any benefit gained after a 1.5 payment is not worth it. You're better investing. For every additional $100 you pay toward a mortgage, you get a decreasing benefit to the point where you're better off saving. Okay? And then, of course, you're auto-investing your age after you have the house and after you're accelerating the mortgage. So let's say the house payment is $4,800 a month. You then go in and automate, okay, another $1,000 a week to the mortgage. And of course, depending on your age, let's say you're auto investing another $700 a week. And then of course, when the house pays off, you can really pile it into the investments and you'll be in incredible shape. You will be a rich chiropractor. If you can follow the guidelines I just said here, you will be, on sheer math, a rich chiropractor. But if you bend and you do this and you go buy that and you got to buy another one and you drive too far and you haven't really got to your savings and investing yet, and we had another kid and that was expense and kids cost more than you think, and we'll get to it later. That is mismanagement of a life. Because I will tell you, there is no happiness in life, really, if you have big money stress. Some of you know what I mean. So, for the chiropractor, we have our Money Chiropractic and You book. We give away to any chiropractor in the world for free. And of course, in our coaching and consulting, we have an entire section on chiropractic business, chiropractic money, chiropractors handling credit cards, chiropractors and houses, how to buy cars, what is the guideline for expenses for a car. Because our hidden agenda here is for every chiropractor in the Winner's Edge group to become a financial powerhouse so they can become generous and not only reach people with their hands, but also reach people with money and generosity. Tory out!